Hello, hi, welcome or welcome back to my channel. I'm Lotus, Lotus the Sage. Thank you so much for joining me. So today we have a fun reading. It won't be super long, but should be really helpful, I'm hoping. So this reading today is going to be the alchemical formula to get you where you want to be. So whatever situation that you're going to come to this reading for, we're going to try and hopefully get a well-rounded spectrum of answers, excuse me. So today we are using the Mystic Messengers from Monty Faber and Amy Zerner. This is a very old divination tool I've had since I probably was about 17, if I'm honest. But I don't use it very often, so I thought today would be a fun way to incorporate that somehow into the reading. So, as I said, it's about your alchemical process. Each element is here. So the fire is going to be talking about the action you should take. The air is the idea you should keep in mind. The water is the emotions you will encounter. And earth is the next stage of the process, like its effect in reality. We're going to get some tarot cards to sort of add to each element with some guidance with the cards, and then your final will be from the Aboriginal Spirit Oracle for your ether energy technically, and then we'll get a little bit of inspiration or a deeper message that may hit you in a different way from the Little Book of Awakening from Mark Nepo. So my beautiful collective, we're using all three decks for each reading, excuse me. So I guess I should get you something to pick. That would probably be more helpful. Give me a second. This is what happens when inspiration just sparks. You just go and you don't really think. So let's use these for piles. So pile 1, you're going to have the blue scroll in the bottle. Pile 2, you're going to have the red scroll in the bottle. And pile 3, you're going to have, I guess it's the light green scroll in the bottle. So whichever bottle that you might be drawn to, let me put you up here so it might be easier to see, that you might be drawn to, take a second and pick that bottle, and I will see you at your choice. Okay, welcome my blue scroll pile. It's going to put you over here. So how this works is we roll the die, whatever number per color it lands on, we will read that description for what their alchemical advice is for you. Then we'll get into the tarot. So for my beautiful collective of pile 1, what alchemical process do they need? Nice. So you have 8, 12. Interesting. I just checked that now. You have 8, 12, 8, 12. How interesting is that? Maybe those numbers on a side note are significant for you. Okay, let's get into this first. Okay, my beautiful collective of pile 1. We're going to shuffle these cards out first, and then we'll get into the messages here. So we're going to have 1 card per element. Okay, my collective of pile 1, let us get into your messages of what alchemical process Spirit wants you to be mindful of. So we are looking first into the action, and the action says volcano. We have act as an erupting volcano whose molten lava destroys everything in its path, but leaves the most fertile of soil for new growth to take place. The old ways have outlived their usefulness and must be swept aside with revolutionary zeal, which has come before, has to be restructured and transformed so that it may meet the challenges that are of this time and place. All barriers, be they physical or mental, must be vaporized, lest they interfere with your new purpose. And then you have the Knight of Pentacles in the reverse. So what I'm understanding here from the alchemical process of the volcano and before you forge new land, in other words, with this Knight of Pentacles, why it's in the reverse is what I'm feeling. Before you can actually forge that new land, this volcanic vaporization and sweeping away of the old, and recognizing it's time for this new growth. What has come before needs to be restructured. And for that restructuring to happen, the soil must be more fertile. And before you can move, hence this Knight of Pentacles in the reverse, this process has to happen. This action phase of, excuse me, of the destroying of something, of the crumbling of something, of the replanting, excuse me, for the space to be replanted, so that that path forward is cared for in the way that meets the challenges of today's time and place. And then you have ascension. Yeah. So a part of the ascension path is about this destroying. You can reference it as in the dark night of the soul also. It can also talk about the abundance area of your life, like your actual physical, material, tangible reality of things, your physical reality, in other words, about how that might need to restructure. If you had lost a job or lost employment, this is all about sort of breaking down your 3D self and releasing and purging out of that 3D self for you to step into the new version of you. But again, this action that's required right now is about this ascension, but it's really about the, I guess, the disturbance of the ground for there to be more fertile soil, so that it doesn't interfere with this new purpose. Okay, let's see what to keep in mind, the idea to keep in mind as you move through this alchemical process of this volcano energy. It says, be aware that behind you stands an angel patiently waiting for you to surrender your prideful desire to resist contributions from sources outside of yourself. Maybe this is why this volcano feels, this volcano feels a little bit more abrupt and tower energy like, as opposed to you embracing the need for this to fall. Your alchemical process can include the gift of grace from the highest sources if you have faith that receiving aid that is beyond your control does not imply your failure. Faith requires great bravery, for it requires you to let go of your beliefs, open your mind to the truth, whatever it may be, and not fear the unknown. Open your mind to the truth, whatever it may be. And I think that's the recognition of what needs to crumble. And you got the Nine of Wands in the reverse. Interesting, because for me, my first definition for the Nine of Wands is always finish what you start. But with the Nine of Wands in the reverse now, it's like there's no need to finish this one. This one needs to crumble. That's what they're really enforcing right now of what I'm getting, because I don't think Volcano would have came out first, because there's other ones that could, in this, in the other elements that could have done the same, or spoken the same energy, but to come out first as your action is something that needs to be done, so it needs to be let go of. Like it's more of a, it's a need now. Not like you can or you should, it's like you need to. That's what I'm feeling. Because I'm also getting it's like the end of that particular cycle of the way that you might have been thinking about something. And as I talked about, like dismantling the 3D self so that you can step into the new version of you, it's not something that's incomplete, in other words, meaning like you're not going to feel like, oh, I should have finished that, or just wish I had kind of got to the end, or could have been different. That's not what I'm feeling here. It's like, no, let go. It's okay. Let go. You've already been through most of this battle, but you're still holding on to it for some reason. Again, maybe because you feel like I need to finish what I started, but what you've started in some degree is already crumbling, so let it crumble. Yeah, ask body in reverse. That's making me think that you're not listening to the intuition, which is what we're talking about here, right? And allowing yourself to think about the actual help that you have from spirit, and that might be what's actually crumbling this when you're trying to hold on to it. Doesn't mean that you failed. That's really what it is. It doesn't mean you failed. And I think that might be how you're thinking about it. And Spirit's like, it's not the truth. Okay, let's see what the emotions behind this are. We have swamp. It says, are you one of the few who can pass through the swamp without fear? Beneath the fetid, stagnant waters, decomposing plant life provides a rich breeding ground for the infinite number of strange organisms at the bottom of the food chain, which sustains us all. Feelings of anxious self-doubt caused by our encounter with our ever-present shadow side can weaken resolve and poison our relationships with suspicion. Until we feel that we can grow even more inclusively of our own experiences, we will be afraid. And this is this Eight of Wands. It's like, slow down. Everything is really talking about to slow down, reassess, look at what needs to really be built on a better foundation, hence the fertile soil. Thinking about the help, that spiritual, angelic help, and your intuition that you might have been ignoring, or thinking that you failed because you couldn't do it on your own, or that somebody else had to come in and finish it. In other words, it's not a failure. And your emotions behind it, wanting to move through this process in some way that is somewhat codependent on a feeling, is what I'm getting, as opposed to it being truly about a person or something like that. That's really the energy that I'm feeling. But there is a fear around that, and it's really about this mental game of yours. Faith requires bravery, for it requires you to let go of your beliefs, open your mind to the truth, whatever it may be, and not let fear be the lead, or take the lead, Feelings of anxious self-doubt caused by our encounters with our ever-present shadow side, which is the doubt. It weakens our resolves and poisons the relationships with others, with ourselves, etc. Okay, let's see the energy. Yeah, the universe in reverse. I really do feel like you are not allowing yourself to hear or trust your intuition or the nudges spirit has been giving you. You've been holding on to a particular belief, and it's why Angel is here for you. Let it go and give it to them. Let go and let God, as they say. That is really, this is the whole energy of this alchemical process for you. Let go and let God. Okay, let's see the effects on your reality with the earth energy, and you have the cave. It says, at this point in your process, you will become isolated inside the protective walls of the cave. In this safe haven of peace and quiet, you can rest from your labors and regain your strength for the challenges ahead, which is this, slow down, right? Without the distractions of the outside world to influence your thoughts, you can review what you have accomplished and learn from what has not worked for your greatest good. Absolutely. Allow the quiet voice of your inner wisdom to advise you about the next course of action you will be taking when you emerge. Hence this Four of Pentacles. Holding on to what you actually know, but knowing when to let go of this. But this process is about you slowing down. So this slowing down and holding on to what needs to be makes sense to me. But eventually this will be a healthy holding on, and not holding on to what has been crumbling. You'll just be taking the things that are positive and helpful for your new process, for your new purpose, for your new path, once you emerge out of this slow down phase for you. Let's see what this says. Yeah, the paradox. Slow down to speed up. That's what they said. You got to slow down to speed up. And right now you're trying to speed up before you slow down. I guess that's not really an analogy, but that's the feeling that they're giving me. There's no other way to put it. You are this particular paradox that you are in this particular paradox, and you are shifting through it, hence this alchemization of what needs to happen, which is to slow down for the reflection, to know that help is here, to let go of this burden for you. And you haven't really been listening to this part of the ascension journey, the spiritual nudges, or your own specifically. I feel more, it's not like you're not listening, it's like you're almost slightly doubting. You're doubting, and therefore then you doubt your intuition, and then you go off of something else that's more mentally based, and then you're fighting with yourself, and then you're holding on to the little grasp of reality that makes sense within this paradox that you've been intertwined with. That's the end. That's the feeling it feels like. And now Spirit's telling you to alchemize this energy. Slow the F down. My lovely, I say that with the most amount of love. So that's yes. Okay. All right, let's see your ether messages from the Aboriginal Oracle by Mel Brown. We're just gonna get one. Yeah, leadership. I'm gonna read from the book. I wasn't going to, but Spirit's like, do that, please. Okay. All right, I'm gonna read right here. It says, there is someone around you that is representing themselves as an authority. This person does not lead by example and is always filled with excuses as to why they are unable to act honorably in certain situations. Your intuition as of late has been telling you this person is not honorable, yet you have struggled to have your own opinion of them because of their ability to charm and fool others around you. I am telling you, there is something that like Spirit's like, let go. You're actually the, like, let go. Not trusting your intuition, like we said. Oh, I love that. Now I know why they want me to read it. Once you stand up and walk away from once you stand up and walk away from the disruptive influences, others will follow quickly behind you and support your actions. My friend, this is perfect. Thank you, Spirit, for letting me read this. This situation will give you the confidence in the future to look closer at people who pretend to represent themselves as something they are not. You will in turn alleviate much confusion and stress in your life. I love that. That's perfect. That is exactly where this whole alchemization is leading you to, into your full leadership. Oh, I love that. Amazing. So what we're going to do to close off your messages, we're just going to add up all of these numbers together. So we have 24 and 16. So we have 40. Is that right? Yeah. Okay. We're going to go to page 40 and see what Mark Nepo wants to say to you to close off your messages. It says, Nicodemus and the truth. How can one be born again? Nicodemus to Jesus. It says, I think it's going to be amazing. Okay. I often think of Nicodemus, the one Pharisee who secretly believed in Jesus and who would meet with him anonymously at night to have deep spiritual conversations, but who would never acknowledge his questions of spirit or his associations with Jesus in the light of day. Of course, this did nothing to the essence of Jesus, but traumatically thwarted the plagued Nicodemus for the rest of his days. This story shows us the quiet pain that comes from not honoring what we know to be true. Even if all we know to be true are the questions we are asking, it is even more useful to realize that we can carry a Jesus and a Nicodemus within us. This is, we each have a divine inner voice that opens us to truth and a meditating social voice that is reluctant to show its truth to others. Woo woo. What did it say here? Open your mind to the truth, whatever it may be, and not fear the unknown. That is a beautiful summation of everything. Live in your truth. You've been fighting it somehow, ignoring it in some way. Spirit's asking you to slow down so you can see it, recognize it, honor it, alchemize this energy to step into the person and the place you want to be, which is in that leadership role. My beautiful collective of Part 1, I hope that was helpful. I'm sending you the most amount of love. Until next time, this is Lotus. Ciao. All right, welcome my pal 2 who chose the red scroll. So how this works here is we're going to roll and see which alchemical process they want you to be mindful of or to take into consideration. And let's see what we got. So for pile 2, what alchemical process do they need? Woo! That earth one is the number 12, was the green. I'm gonna go get it. Okay, so you have 11, 1, 11, and 12. Pile 1 also got 12 for Earth also. So we're going to go to these numbers. Okay, now we're going to shuffle up these tarot cards and we're going to get one card per element. Okay, my beautiful collective of pile 2. So for the red is your action about your alchemical process, and you have fire ruby. It says, act as one who has attained the sacred fire ruby and knows that you are in complete harmony with what you should be doing to realize your goal. Continue on your present course of action, for all is going exactly as it should be. Fire is faith in action, and so let go of all limiting doubts by eliminating any distinctions between you and what you are doing. You are a human being. You are the direct experience of your life, and only by so doing do you truly partake of its fullness. I love this. And it's this whole energy of you're in the right place at the right time. Your impetus, your action, and your energy and your focus is all moving in the direction that is suited for the results that you want. Partake in life fully, and that comes out with the Tower in reverse. And how I always view the Tower in reverse is Spirit didn't need to intervene to get you to sort of make a drastic change. I love that about the Tower energy. It's like you knew what you had to do and you took action towards it, regardless of your uncertainty, of the doubt, of the naysayers, or even of the people who were saying great things. You know, you're just like, it doesn't really matter. I know I need to do this. So fire is faith in action. So let go of all the limiting doubts by eliminating any distinction between you and what you're doing. You are a part of this, as you're partaking of your life in its fullness. Love that energy. Yeah, man, fated. I'm telling you, you did it like you just knew, and it was a part of the process for you, part of it. So this alchemical process of whatever it is that you were wanting to shift into is in the works. For your air, something to keep in mind, winged heart. Be aware that your alchemy process must include the soaring, joyous spirit of the winged heart. For without the compassionate love that it symbolizes, your effort cannot succeed. You must not defeat yourself with unkind thoughts about others or even yourself. Like the sages of old, keep in your heart and see in your mind's eye that all is as it should be, and know that it is so. The ruby emphasized that all is as it should be too. It's about the fates. Practice the visualization, and you will find yourself waking up, remembering to think positively whenever you fall asleep into negativity. Beautiful. And that's pretty fitting with this Lovers in the reverse, right? If you've been thinking anything negatively about yourself or the situation, about how things didn't work out in your favor, maybe you went into this, maybe you didn't do it as in like, you know, like you were ready to do it, but you knew you just had to. And maybe for some it felt a little bit hasty, or movement coming from a place of disappointment. It does feel somewhat about the joyous spirit of the winged heart, because without that compassionate love, as they said, that it symbolizes, the compassionate love that this winged heart symbolizes, your efforts won't succeed. You must not defeat yourself with unkind thoughts about others or even yourself. That is what to keep in mind. No unkind thoughts about yourself, others, somebody's farther along than you should be, they have this and you don't. Forget those, nip those in the butt. Yeah, the seeker. Yeah, because it's like, I think they're saying like, don't get swayed or upset by what others have in reference to what you're seeking. For example, if you've been single for a long time and you see everybody around you like in a loving, romantic, uber squishy kind of relationship, I get how that can be like, F you bitches. Like, you suck, all of you, you know, like I can understand that, but that's sort of the energy that I'm getting. It's like there's people around you that I feel to some degree you feel that are less deserving, even though you wouldn't word it this way, less deserving of some of the things that they have based on their actions. You know, and you're like, I've been so good and I've done so much and I still have to go through all this ish and I still can't get what I'm seeking. Spirit's like, you're looking at it in the wrong way. There's something bigger for you is what I'm getting, and I don't want to like inflate the ego, but there's something else, like the bigger picture is what you're missing, in other words. Or you might be not missing, just you can't see it yet because you're in the thick of it. Let's put it that way. Interesting. Let's see what your emotions are, what emotions will be brought up. You have the snowflake. It says, know that the freezing cold that encourages an individual drop of water to crystallize into a unique snowflake also causes it to separate itself from amongst its peers and drift on its own for a time. So comes the apparent coolness of emotional detachment into our experience as a necessary defense against our emotions' natural tendency to overwhelm us. From this unclouded viewpoint, we can make purely logical decisions. Just as a snowflake's fall ends in its reunion, we will later return to emotions lest we drift into apathy. So that comes out with the Four of Swords in the reverse. And I feel like this is a perfect depiction of exactly as they describe that emotional energy of going out on your own to venture out in a territory or in an energy that is less familiar or less comfortable to you, and stepping out of your comfort zone to a degree that will inevitably bring you back into the center of love within self, love within whatever direction that you were aiming and wanting to head towards. And they're also reminding you to still stay connected to that there is a place and need for rest and contemplation and this cold detachment from it to a degree. You need that separation. I think that's the reason why this is not upright. You're not staying where you are. All of this movement based on your actions. These are your thoughts about what's been going on, feeling slightly disconnected, maybe not feeling very loved, and seeking that kind of external validation of comfort and compassion. Nothing wrong with that. But they're just saying that right now, it might be a time for you to be alone. And you might be fighting that need, spiritually speaking, to be alone because of the 3D reality or what you might be experiencing currently. And then transmute in the reverse. Yes, resisting the transformation possibly. They said you're not resisting it, it's just difficult. It's not a resisting, and that's why I think the Four of Swords is up. Like, you know that you need to do this. You know that this is already happening, I feels like. And the transmutation isn't fully complete, hence this being in the reverse, because you need this solitude time, this alone time, this reflection time, this seeking time, this time for fate to do its thing. You know? Let's go into the effects in your reality with the earth element, and you have the cave. At this point in your process, you'll become isolated inside the protective walls of the cave. In this safe haven of peace and quiet, you can rest from your labors and regain your strength for the challenges ahead without the distractions of the outside world to influence your thoughts. You can review what you have accomplished and learn from what has not worked for your greatest good. Allow the quiet voice of your inner wisdom to advise you about the next course of action you'll be taking when you emerge. Again, this alone time, this emergence of, the solitude within self that brings out the emergence of the new version of you, in whichever direction that this alchemical process is leading you. Three of Pentacles in reverse. Interesting. Spirit is saying you are learning how to work on your own with yourself. I feel there's a possibility that a lot of you, my collective, have been in group collectives, a lot of organizations, or a part of something. You always have somebody with you, beside you, something like that. I have a lot of girlfriends that are like that. There's nothing wrong with, but they have a very difficult time being alone, staying single, and they would rather be in relationships that are not exactly compatible just to avoid being alone. Doesn't mean that the person's not lovely. That's not what we're getting at. Doesn't mean that they don't have actual affection for them, but they know why they're there. It's not really about the connection. It's about the loneliness. Therefore, is a codependency on that emotion, on that feeling, on that person. Not even necessarily the person. It's just the fact that I don't want to be alone. This person is treating me decently, so why not? Again, there's no judgments, but what the energy of the reason why I bring up that example is the energy I'm getting here is you are learning now how to work on your own with yourself. It is finding that sovereignty within oneself, the strength of your abilities within yourself, no longer putting your worth in somebody or something else to validate yourself. That's what's transmuting. This is why this alone time is necessary. So no longer being influenced by the outside forces, period. I love that. Yeah. Look at that. And then the freaking alchemist. Freaking A. That's right. You are learning how to alchemize this energy within. That's freaking bomb. I love that. Absolutely transmuting everything that you have learned. Yes, because you finish that transmutation and become the full alchemist of this. Oh, I love that. That's amazing. Okay, let's see your ether energy. All right. So part 1, Spirit made me read the book for their messages. I don't know what Spirit will make me do, but we'll see. Surprise. Surprise! How beautiful. I'm definitely going to read it for you guys. That's this whole alchemical process that you end up mastering in a sense. And you get this beautiful gift at the end of this process. Oh, I'm excited for you. It says, prepare for something wonderful to happen to you. It will come out of the blue and be totally unexpected. You feel it has been a long time since something good has happened to you, but you so easily forget the times when things were good and life was going well. This is this energy right here when I was talking about like that relationship example of like everybody around you sort of having the things that you kind of want and you kind of being bothered by that because you're not getting what you're seeking. Something's coming for you is what I'm feeling. You have been through challenging times as of late and have forgotten how to enjoy yourself. That's the alone time now, right? Most importantly, you have struggled to see the positive sides of things, and this has kept you in the doldrums. When this surprise arrives, enjoy the feelings associated with it. Remember, it was not the surprise that you need, but more so the awareness and connectedness to the feelings that are associated with the fun of the surprise. The feeling. Again, I brought that up. It's about the feeling, right? Attached your codependency to that feeling. And now you're going to be able to find that feeling within yourself in some way. I do feel like something like actually tangible is given to you. And it may not be like a gift per se, but like words are tangible to me, you know, like something directly given to you that sort of flips the script or puts you in a different type of energetic frequency. Oh, that's amazing. I love that. Okay, so to close off your final messages, we're going to add up all these numbers and then look in the little book of awakenings. So we have an 1111, it's just 22. And then a 13 with the 12 and 11. 12, excuse me, with the 12 and the 1. So we have 35. All right, page 35. It says, the ground we walk. Walker, there is no path. We make the path as you walk. Let's read it. I listened carefully as he described his little girl's first steps. He encouraged her to keep her eyes on him, and only when she didn't, did she stumble. Only when she lost her focus, when she became too conscious of the step she was taking, did she fall. I was afraid he was going to declare some parental primacy, that without his loving presence, his little girl wouldn't be able to make her way. But to my surprise, he understood her first steps more deeply as a wisdom that affects us all. He stared off, offering slowly, she made me realize that when I stop looking for a sense of truth, I stumble. When I lose my focus on what really matters, I fall. The small story has stayed with me, for aren't we forever taking first steps, again and again? Don't we uncover a mystery of strength by looking out before us and bringing into focus a deeper sense of truth? Isn't balance, in reality, the ability to step quite naturally, like this little girl, without too much thought into everything larger than our fear? Sit quietly and imagine one aspect of yourself as you would like to be more loving and less afraid. Oh, that is so beautiful. The surprise of the recognition of yourself, of where you do fall, of where you released some of your focus, you know, and where you've been focusing too intently. You know, it's a beautiful awakening, my beautiful collective. What an awesome way to alchemize this energy. I'm sending you the most amount of love. I hope that was helpful. Until next time, ciao. Okay, welcome my green scroll pile. We're gonna get started. So we're gonna roll a dice for the elements, like I said, and we'll find out what alchemical process Spirit wants you to take. So we have 7, 4, 7, and 11. So we're going to flip these to the number. All right, now we're going to go into the tarot and get 1 card per element. Okay, my beautiful collective of pile 3. So when it comes to your alchemical process, the action that they want you to take, fireworks has come up. And it says, act as a long evening's display of fireworks, whose attractive power and ability to delight are a celebration of the skills of many brought together for a common goal. Enjoy the making of new connections and alliances, for together as a team, the effectiveness of your joined resources is easily spread out over a much greater area. As you imitate the natural beauty and harmony of the heavens themselves, you will come to know their power to inspire all to greater heights. I forgot to mention, before I get into this, when I was shuffling the cards and these 2 cards came out, which I'll show you in a second, I heard, if you're single, you won't be single for long. That's the first thing I heard. And I heard explosive sexual connection. And then I heard, trust what you're feeling. That's a side note for some. So if this has anything to do with anything romantic, that was one of the very first messages that came up. In connection to what I've just said, in relation to what was just spoken, was this, again, this connecting, right? It says, enjoying the making of new connections and alliances, for together as a team, the effectiveness of your joined resources is easily spread out over a much greater area. And you have that 9 of Pentacles in reverse, which I consider, you know, self-sufficient in the upright. And now that you're self-sufficient, you are now able to connect, or the right partner or people will come in to bring in that 10 of Pentacles energy, so to speak. So that's exactly what I'm feeling here with this fireworks. So your alchemical processes within connecting, gathering people of like mind, or with alternate types of skills to aid in one goal, one type of goal. That's what they're showing me. And then get curious in reverse. I don't think this is supposed to be in reverse, but I'm going to tap into that energy. Give me a second. Oh, they said the reason why it's in reverse is because you're nervous. They said you're nervous about that particular part, the connecting part. Why? I'm hearing that you've been the eccentric one for a very long time, and in multiple different types of groups, and you really haven't felt that unified, so to speak, or that understood. And you're afraid, or you're hopeful that this will be different, but there's a lingering doubt that still sometimes comes to the surface. Interesting. We're going to come back to that energy. Let's see what's in your mind. What they trying to stay mindful of, the ideas to keep in mind, in other words. And you have clock. Be aware that no matter where the clock's hands point, it is always now. No other time exists. Allow the awareness of this spacious, eternal presence to guide your actions through good timing born of calm and patience. Those who anxiously think they see a future which never really arrives, rushing headlong into a murky past, which was just the present, forget that words themselves and clock time are convenient ideas that are our servants, not our masters. Live your process one day at a time. And that's that energetic spark, that action-oriented spark, that Ace of Wands. You are not on anybody else's clock. There's no time frame that you need to adhere to. Now is the time. Now is the presence. Do not look in the past to keep yourself nervous or anxious about what may have happened and what you might be assuming or predicting to happen with this new set of people or connections. Just to be mindful of keeping that spark alive in you, which is your true authentic self, and not being a slave to a schedule, is also what I just heard. And the explorer. Yeah, and I think that's again that this compass thing that is making me feel of you exploring within any time frame, within any realm, within any density. There is this sort of ethereal traveling, astral traveling that I'm also getting. I'm getting a sense of really understanding that this phrase, eternal presence to guide your actions through good timing born of calm and patience. Good timing born of calm and patience. That's knowing when to act. This explorer energy, exploring until it's the right time, right opportunity. You're moving in the right direction for things to envelop as it should. Or as you desire, I should say. So let's see what emotions will pop up during this alchemical process for you. And you have the Lotus. Welcome! It says, you will encounter the ever-unfolding beauty of the lotus flower emerging from the mud, the way love emerges from the murky depths of our emotions. How will you handle love? I'm telling you, there's a big, heavy emphasis on relationships in this pile. Feelings of love for another are like the clear and unbroken reflection of the lotus in the water. The image lasts as long as care is taken to maintain the respectful tranquility that allows us to enjoy life. With love, all things are possible, for love replaces our confusing doubts and weakening fears with faith in ourselves and others. Faith in ourselves and others. It is about that. How will you handle this love, this connection, this spark of inspiration, of camaraderie, of community, of communion? Yeah, the Chariot in the reverse. This is so beautiful. I love that. So I'm feeling a sense of not rushing through. It's because the Chariot in the upright position is still a stagnant. It's like it's still, like it's a fixture right now. You know, it's not moving. But the idea behind merging your light and your dark side, merging the desire and the will, the appetite and the will, you know, of learning how to control and taking reins over that. You know, and in the reverse, it feels that way. It feels like you know how to use this momentum now. You know how to use this energy better, so you don't need to be afraid of what has happened in the past. You can allow yourself to trust your intuition because it is leading you where they want you to go. It is. But I feel that it is somewhat live the process one day at a time is really important. And reflect, yeah. And they literally just talked about that in this. Feelings of love for another are like the clear and unbroken reflection of the lotus in the water. Reflect on what you've learned, on what might be worrying you, your shadow and your light self, your worries, your hopes. Reflect on that, and that leads you into the meteorite of your effect in your reality. And it says, you will see the meteor fall from out of the clear blue sky and be compelled to have a different attitude about what is and is not possible in your life. Exactly, this reflection, this honing in that skill. It is most likely that you will be fortunate enough not to be struck by it, but it will surely disrupt your everyday experience for a time. Hence, live the process one day at a time. Reflect on what is needed. Elements never seen before or even imagined will be revealed and available for use. Your reaction to the unexpected will show you whether or not you are flexible enough to produce true, lasting change. Hence that flexibility, right? You're not in the upright of that static energy. You are now ready and moving with that energy, hopefully to trust your intuition, to not be swayed by the mind so much anymore, by the past thoughts, by letting the third eye lead, and then making a decision from the heart and from that place as opposed to the mind or from your reality in some way. And then trust. Yeah. Trust the intuition. Trust in what you're feeling. I did say that about that, right? Or something like that in the beginning. Trust in what you're feeling. Wow, collective. It really does feel like there is this beautiful energy that is already in play. And its potency will be better sustained when there is care taken to maintain. You know, maintain what you've learned, not stay stuck in the past things that have hurt or that have made you doubt or feel nervous. Continue to be the explorer of your own timeline, you know, to reflect on what you have gained so that you can move forward and trust fully in your own intuition. Get it? Love that. So for your ether energy, your spirit energy, we're going to get one card from the Aboriginal Spirit Oracle. And Spirit has been making me read from the book today for this. And Mother Goddess. I was saying, this is so funny, I didn't say this earlier. When I was rolling your die, because your pile had a different set of numbers, but everybody had a double number. Like everybody had a double number. You guys have double 7s. Last pile, I think, had double 11s. The pile before had double 8s and 12s. So when I was doing yours, I always do a reading for myself first so I get my energies out of the way as best as I can. And I got the exact same card, and I got Lotus also for my thing. So I feel like you and I, Pile 3, have a lot of similar things happening right now in our lives currently. And Mother Goddess, I will read it to you. This card represents your ability to see the universal picture, to see beyond the initial challenges. The Mother Goddess is not limited by time and space, hence this clock, your own timeline. She can see beyond today and tomorrow and look back into the past. You have the ability to see into the future and create what you need. You are born as a leader. You are looked upon as such for your courage and your insight and your ability to be fair and just. Trust in your abilities to lead, for you have what it takes. You have earned the respect of your peers and your family. Only you often forget the power that comes with your role. It is time to step up once again and lead in the task that is at hand. Yes, yes, yes. Step up and lead and trust to get to where you want to be. I love that. So for your final, fully closing messages, we're going to add up these numbers and then get a message from the Little Book of Awakenings. So you have 7 and 7, which is 14, with a 4, which is 18, with an 11, which is 29. Okay, it says, while running, to see takes time. Georgia O'Keeffe. While running in May, I saw a neatly trimmed hedge, and sprouting briskly through its symmetry were scraggly blue flowers wildly obeying no form. It made me smile, for I have spent many years resisting being pruned and shaped. I loved how wild the blue just hung there over the hedge. While running in June, I saw an older man out pruning that hedge. He was so involved, clipping gingerly, then backing up, sweating through his eyes, as if the world depended on his diligence. I was touched by his care. He nodded briefly, and without a word, it was clear that it wasn't the hedge, but that he needed something to care for. I realized this is how I've lived since surviving cancer. While running in August, I came upon a slim fountain gushing from an unseeable center, as high as it could, reaching without arms until it ran out of reach. And at its closest to the sky, it began to fall back on itself. Always what was rising up replacing what was falling away. Sweating and heaving, I realized this is what is meant to be free. Sit quietly and call to the part in you that resists being pruned. Affirm it. Breathe deeply and call to the part in you that needs to care. Embrace it. Ooh, embrace the parts of you that need pruning. And that's this somewhat afraid of this type of connection, or afraid of a repeat of something that wasn't satisfying from your past. This is a beautiful energy to emerge out of, especially when you're alchemizing this. So this is the alchemical process for you. People coming in, trusting in this intuition. You're ready for this. Trust. Ready. My beautiful collective of Pile 3, I'm sending you the most amount of love. I hope that was helpful. Keep wanting your lives. Until next time. Ciao.